What's good, everyone? This is the first lesson of how to play the cajon, and this is more adapted to people who are tall like me and the problems that being tall occurs when learning the cajon. A lot of people, I think, the reason for starting the cajon is to have a portable drum kit, especially with bandmates saying, oh, we need to do an acoustic gig, you need to get a cajon basically, and they're like, oh god, I've got to play a bloody box. So many people who just don't want to play the cajon, and that's fine. But if you're going to learn how to play the cajon, you need to take it seriously, and you need to treat this as a real instrument. And I think that's a problem with a lot of people, where they don't really understand the cajon. They just view it as a box, and they don't view it as anything else. And it really frustrates me when people don't view it as an instrument. They just view it as something that's a box that you hit that sounds a little bit like a drum kit, and it really annoys me, especially when drummers just they don't respect the instrument, and that's where they go wrong, because they just don't care for it. And I think, well, if you don't care for it, just play a version of an acoustic kit and just take that out, and don't play a cajon, because you obviously don't care for it. But anyway, the reason we're here is to learn the basics of posture, basic tones we can achieve from the cajon, the right way of starting off playing the cajon, where we have longevity in this instrument. We can gain stamina. We don't have to worry about our body. The main thing I find with especially tall people learn the cajon or get started with the cajon is that they just bugger their back up. They just they hurt their back. They don't want to play it again. That's it. I've been the same. I felt the same at certain points with this instrument, where I just don't want to play it again because of how much it can hurt when you don't sit properly, have proper posture, you don't play it, you hurt yourself with your hands especially. You can hurt your back, your leg, you can really hurt yourself with this instrument. The same as any instrument, really. It's just you have to learn the essentials to take this instrument seriously. Take this instrument as your, maybe as one of your main instruments if you want to. It depends how far you want to take this. This is mainly for tall people. If you're short or whatever as well, it's still valid. But the main thing I find for tall drummers when they come to the cajon is that they don't want to play it because of how much it can hurt. I think for shorter cajon players, it's not as bad, because of being able to reach easier, being closer to the cajon essentially, where you don't need to bend as much, or it's just a lot easier to get to compared to a taller person. So we're going to look at these problems and the right approach, and to not have these problems as a tall percussionist, drummer, whatever. So first things first, the very first thing we want to focus on, the same as if you're playing the drum kit, on a stool, whether it is your back and your posture. You want to have a straight back every time you play, whether it's on the drum kit or cajon, or if you're sitting down on anything really, piano stool, whatever. You want to keep your back straight, feel it in your coccyx, in the bottom of your back, where you want to keep this strong and not move this at all. You want to keep this very stationary no matter what you do. You want to keep your shoulders and arms real loose. You don't want to put any strain into it, because you can hurt yourself here. Put strain like tensing up and things from playing, and that can be a big problem. So the one of the things I do a lot, and I think is very important when you start the cajon, is as well, spreading your legs. This is another thing, spreading your legs enough and not sit like this, because you can feel this in your legs and you can feel tension. So you want to not feel tension in the bottom of your thighs. You want to play this instrument without having to think about your bodies. These are very important steps to get to that stage. So starting off with that, with your legs spread enough so you can reach the cajon enough, the very first thing that you want to do is sit back, tilt it so you're on the two back legs of the cajon, so you're putting more the strain on the cajon it can take. It's a strong enough instrument, you're not going to break it, so it's not putting the strain on you, on your back, on your legs. It's just going into the instrument itself. And this way you can still stay straight and still reach, or even if you tilt forward, that's okay, because as long as you keep your back straight, it's fine, so you can just reach where you need to reach. I find a lot of people when they start playing this instrument, the first thing they do is they don't think about it. They're just going, oh, I can just hit this box thing, and they always go like really ridiculously low. Like I find this a lot when people, it's totally unnecessary. You're not getting good sounds. You're getting sounds which, if you're trying to get the bass tone sound, it's just not a good sound, and you don't need to go this low at all. The first things first, we're going to look at the bass tone / low tone of the cajon, and the lowest you need to go is you just need to put your entire hand on the cajon from your palm here. So you don't need to go any lower than this to achieve your low tone. Now, I learned this. I've adapted my technique through the years, so I hurt my hand less as possible, and it's the same approach as the drum kit as well. The same, where you want to always create a rebound, because if you leave your hand into an instrument, it's going to hurt more. You're going to feel it in your wrist, your arm, your entire hand, and that will cause, after a while playing, you can hurt yourself seriously. Eventually, the same as you would drum kit with sticks, laying into a drum and just leaving the stick buried in the head. And this is always important to remember. So you need to approach this the same to this percussion instrument. So starting off with the bass tone, as this is the lowest you want to go, is I tilt the drum a little bit. Make sure your legs are, firmly on the ground. You don't have to think about, I'm not going to fall off or anything. Tilt forward yourself a little bit to reach it. This is as low as you want to go for the bass tone. The technique I use is from I learned from Paquito Gonzalez, who is the first person you need to check out when learning cajon, because in my opinion the #1 cajon player in the world. He's playing is second to none. It's pristine, great technique, great playing. He can just achieve things that I haven't seen any other cajon player achieve from this one instrument. Starting off with what I've learnt from him, from his videos and whatnot, we're going to first look at how to achieve the correct sound and the correct way of playing the bass tone. So you want to use the bottom of your fingers and the top of where your knuckles would be, around this sort of area, to achieve the bass tone. You don't need to use your whole hand to get it, because it'll be dry and it's just not necessary. You're not going to get a good sound really. So you want to sort of extend your hand out, like instead of having it flat, you want to sort of like do it a little bit like that. Exaggerate it at the beginning. Starting with this, using this part of your hand for both hands. Just start doing singles with both hands. Just going right and left, or left and right if you're left-handed. It doesn't really matter. You just want to get used to sitting correctly, tilting correctly. Forward yourself, the cajon backwards, etc. And starting with this as low as possible, so you can just get used to the feeling of finding a way that's right for you. Maybe if you want to sit straight and go lower, you can do that too. It depends on your body type. But I find this works for me, and I've seen taller players do a similar sort of thing, where they just, it just helps to tilt. So with right to left or left to right, always remember to keep the rebound and don't force your hand on it, because you can tell from the sound, the way you play, the way your technique is, affects the sound too. Get used to the feeling in your back, your legs. Make sure you don't hurt yourself while you practice. The second tone we're going to learn today is the snare / high tone, snare tone that we can achieve from the cajon. And this is using the top of your fingers. So from where you were playing the bass tone upwards, basically, top of your fingers, and higher on the cajon. So around here, same with the rebound, tilting. Nice and spaced. Use a metronome if you want, and just go between both the bass tone and the snare tone. Great. These are the very first things you want to look at when approaching the cajon. And the next few lessons, I will adapt more, show more sounds you can achieve. But the very first things you want to learn from the cajon are sitting properly, as I've been saying constantly throughout this video. Tilting, just getting used to the feeling, just maybe 10-15 minutes a day. Just work on that, and you can feel your hands, and you shouldn't feel pain. It's the same as any technique. When starting to play, you'll think about, you've got to just think about this a lot, but eventually it will come second nature, muscle memory and everything, and it'll be fine. So this is the very first lesson. We'll continue the next lesson looking into more techniques, but just practice this, and we'll get more into not just playing the cajon, but different ways of playing it, how to use it in a more drum kit setting, and I'm going to show good ways of doing it where it doesn't sound wrong and out of play. You can achieve a drum kit way on a cajon. A cajon is never going to replace a drum kit. The same as an electric kit isn't going to replace an acoustic kit. They all have their purpose, but you can get nice sounds from a cajon as a drum kit sort of setting for a more acoustic setting, obviously. So we're going to look into that. Different setups, different ways, miking cajons, different miking positions, etc. We're going to also look at other percussion instruments. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this lesson, and let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below. Please like and subscribe. If you'd like more lessons and more information and would like more variety, just let me know. And yeah, have a good one. See you later.